All right, today we're going to talk about, I don't know if you want to call it a myth or not, but basically whether or not you need a clutch kit or not. Before we get started, let's get a few formalities out of the way. I asked you subscribe to our channel. You can do that. It's usually a little deal down in the corner, and most of the time I got a little eye up here. It's a link to our website. If you want to know how to get to Hunterworks.com, you can go to the description down below, and it should be a link down there to Hunterworks. And a lot of these clutch videos, I like to remind everybody that we do make our own belts. We do consider them the best on the planet. So just remember that we make them, and we do appreciate all of your support on that. So one of the questions that I get or read about all the time is whether or not you need a clutch kit. Extremely popular question on most any social media site is, hey, I put whatever size tires on my whatever, and we'll just use a RZR XP 1000. So I put 32s on RZR XP 1000, I need a clutch kit. The answers that person usually get is yes, no, whatever, and in the end, you really didn't have an answer. And so the one thing that people leave out always is, what are you doing with it? So what I'm about to tell you, I suppose, could be considered controversial. I'm sure somebody will want to debate with me on it or whatever. What I'm fixing to tell you is an opinion, so therefore it's really not up for the debate. This is just how we skin this cat over at Hunterworks. I'm sure competitors and whoever else would have a difference of opinion, but again, this is just an opinion, so we're kind of prefacing what I'm fixing to say. So as a general rule here at Hunterworks is if you call me and you say, hey, I put 32-inch tires on my XP 1000 and I never get out of low range and I'm just easing around and I need a clutch kit. No, well, why not? Everybody says I do. What are you doing with it? So the way the clutch kit works, or any for that matter, and I don't care whose brand it is, the way it's supposed to work is let's go back to this example. You put 32s, 34s, whatever, on XP 1000 or 900, like I said, the vehicle's irrelevant. But if you haul butt everywhere you went, and you was like the type driver I am, on the throttle, off the throttle, then with your taller, heavier tires, you lost some engine RPM, you lost some performance. The clutch kit's job is to slow the shift out of the clutch down, bring engine RPM up, and give you some of your lost performance back. The method by which it does that, and this is just a general answer, there's a little more to it than that, but by typically with lighter weights and the with lighter weights in the primary clutch and stiffer springs in there. All right, so because it takes more engine RPM to close the clutch with lighter flyweights, therefore it slows it down, gives you that RPM. Now, if you think about centrifugal force, what do you think would happen with that exact same vehicle if you slowed it down and was doing technical riding or got it in a bind with lighter weights and stiffer spring in the primary? It would be more apt to slip a belt because the clutch didn't have as much grip, because those things are coming over and grabbing that belt to get you moving. So that's where I'm getting at is what you're doing is the most important thing. There's a particular company I'm fairly familiar with that sells a lot of mud guys clutch kits or has a high stall RPM and would probably say, well, you're nuts, Well, it depends. If you're that big tire guy and you need belt grip, no, you don't need all that. But if you are a big tire guy and you maybe got whatever and you're a mud pit guy where you're nailing it, then yeah, you're back in the category. So it really has a lot to do with the skinny pedal, gas pedal, how you're using it. We try not to, we do not mislead people. I may be wrong sometimes, but it seems like I don't sell as many clutch kits as I sell because we are not comfortable selling a slower technical rider a clutch kit when it really more so benefits him if he was a faster mover. You go, well, I do both. Well, then in that case, we say buy our Dalton clutch kit, set it up per instructions, and go ride and see how it performs, and then call me and we can get you adjusted either direction to help one thing or another. But what people don't understand always is what you do on this end affects this end. So I always say around here two things. Is if you want to be a rock crawler on Saturday and a dooner on Sunday, you can't take both setups or either setup to the other place. Meaning today you need belt grip, tomorrow you need RPM for that sand. All right, so it just don't work. That's two different things. If you took your heavy setup, it advanced the belt, lugged the motor. If you put your dune setup to the rocks, you're not gonna have any belt grip. So there's always this in-between deal. But like I said is I don't want you to think this information is necessarily black and white, because it's not. There's tons of debate on the application, and that's the key to this. What is your application? What are you doing 90% of the time? So for you guys watching this, if you're either here or here, it may be black and white. But if you're in the middle, if you're not real sure even after watching this, then please pick up the telephone, call me at Hunterworks, and we'll discuss your particular application. I say application a lot here because that's the thing. What works for you may not work for your buddy. You know, and y'all may have the same vehicles, but your riding style is different. You know, so you can't just group everybody in together. We try not to here. It's kind of individualized to some degree. Hopefully, after listening to this explanation, that you'll realize that just not everybody needs one, or not everybody needs the same thing. So what I end up doing a lot of times is a guy says, well, I've got a whatever, it doesn't even matter, RZR 900, General, XP, whatever, and I got a little bit bigger tires and I like to go to Windrock up in Tennessee and I drive slow, I want to get a clutch kit. No, let's just leave it with stock clutching. If it's a 1000, why don't you try our thick belt? If it's a General or 900, you should try our standard belt because it's thicker than your OE belt is. And if it's a 16 or newer, for God's sakes, get our round rollers to replace your square clutch, and then leave it alone, because you're not gassing on it and needing the performance. A clutch kit, in an analogy, is kind of like tow haul button on a truck. Is when you push that tow haul button with your added load, it brings up the shift points in each gear, brings RPM up, and gives you some of your lost performance back. Very much how a clutch kit works in a certain degree. Now then, with clutch kits, a guy will say, hey, I'm just making this up, 37s, no reduction, and I want a clutch kit. Dude, you need a reduction. You would not go buy a Jeep and put 37s on it with a 5-speed and go rock crawling, because you would already know that your stock clutch would slip and burn trying to do it, and you would already know that if you did that with a Jeep, you'd have to re-ring front and rear differentials with lower gears. I mean, that's very common knowledge. So why aren't we applying the same principles to our RZRs or Rangers or Generals or whatever? Well, you should be. There is a point of diminishing returns on the clutching. Same thing as that tow haul button is if Jeep come with 30s and you put 32s and it was an automatic, it might climb or pull better in tow haul, but then there's a point, that just ain't enough. So anyway, this video here is just, I ain't really showing you anything, we're just talking here and just want to share information. And as always, there's some really extremely sharp people out there on clutching that will know way more than I do. But there's a lot of guys, just like today, didn't know which one was a primary and secondary clutch, or how to get his clutch cover off. I mean, so these videos are geared for the guys that just don't have this experience and just need a little helping hand. And that's what we're always here for, is to educate, help people. And hopefully sell a few items in the process, all our clutching stuff. So once again, if you guys have any questions, any concerns, I would ask these days if you can handle it in an email, Todd@hunterworks.com, because our call volume is through the roof, and it is hard to get to me sometime. But if you absolutely need to call, leave your name and number, and I will call you before the end of that day if all possible. If you get our voicemail, just call back, because we're both on the phone here. Anyway, that's a little too much about that, but holler if you need us, and thank you for all you do for us.